Welcome back to my channel. Are you worried that growing cantaloupes takes too much time because you have to water and fertilize them every day? Don't worry, because today I'm going to show you how to grow cantaloupes using just a few plastic bottles and some discarded foam boxes. This method helps save time on daily care, and the result is plump, evenly sized cantaloupes. Now, let's get started. These are the foam boxes I collected from seafood stores near my home. I'm planning to use 4 of them. Each box is about 16 by 24 by 20 inches. Before adding the soil, I'll place the foam lids on top. Next, prepare a small plastic lid about 5 inches wide. I'll use this lid as a template to draw circles on the foam lid. On each lid, I'll draw 3 circles in a straight line. If you want to make the holes larger, that's fine too. It depends on the size of your foam box and the type of plant you're growing. Once the circles are drawn, I'll carefully use a knife to cut out each hole along the marked lines. When cutting, remember to go slowly and make clean, steady cuts. Don't press too hard, or the foam lid may crack or break. Can you guess how many plants I'm going to grow in each box? Don't let those 3 holes on the lid fool you. To make cutting easier, use a knife with a pointed tip so it can pierce through the foam more easily. And finally, I've finished cutting all the holes in the foam lids. Next, tilt each foam box onto its side and use the round plastic lid to mark another circular hole in the center near the bottom of the box. Then use the knife again to cut out the new hole. Now prepare 8 1.5-liter plastic bottles. These are bottles I also collected from my family's recycling bins. First, remove all the labels from the bottles. Then, I'll draw a small circle near the upper part of the bottle body and cut that section out. Next, I'll use a heated soldering tip to make drainage holes along the sides and bottom of the bottle. Can you guess what I'm going to use these plastic bottles for? Here, I've prepared 4 bottles like this. You don't need to make too many holes. About 6 small holes arranged symmetrically around the upper half of the bottle are enough. I'll leave the lower half untouched, with no holes, so it can later hold water or nutrient solution. I'll insert the cut plastic bottle into the circular hole near the bottom of the foam box. See, they fit together pretty well. Maybe they were made for each other. Just make sure the circular opening near the neck of the bottle is facing upward. Watch closely how I do it. Next, prepare some pieces of rope about 20 inches long. I'll thread them through the holes in the bottle that I prepared earlier. Now you can clearly see what the bottle at the bottom is for, right? It's actually the self-watering system for this foam box. Now, with the remaining 4 plastic bottles, I'll cut open the top, but I won't cut it off completely. This way, it can still be opened and closed while we work. They also help reduce unpleasant odors from escaping. For these bottles, use the heated soldering tip again to make plenty of holes along the sides. This is the soil I mixed with compost and let break down for about 2 weeks. It's very loose, airy, and rich in nutrients. Now, I'll fill the foam boxes with it, almost all the way to the top. Next, add a layer of cow manure on top. This will serve as a base fertilizer for the plants. Once that's done, put the lids back on. The plastic bottle I prepared earlier is actually for adding kitchen scraps. And although there are 3 holes on top of the lid, I'll only be growing 2 plants, one on each side. Just press it down gently, and the plastic bottle will fit snugly into the circular hole. These are cantaloupe seedlings that I started from seed 10 days ago. At this stage, they're about 3 inches tall, have developed 1 to 2 true leaves, and their roots are growing quite well, so this is a good time to transplant them into the soil. Just tilt the seedling plug slightly, gently remove the plant from its container, place it into the circular hole, and press it down lightly. There's no need to dig a planting hole first. That's it. After placing the seedling into the hole, I'll gently press it down with my hand. Finally, add a little water around the base of the plant to give it some initial moisture after transplanting. It's always a pleasure to share this video with all of you watching from different parts of the world. Now, I'm going to add water to the bottle at the bottom of the self-watering system. Through capillary action, the water will be drawn upward through the wicking cords. After 20 days, let's see how our cantaloupe plants are doing. You probably wouldn't even recognize them compared with when they were first planted, right? The plants have produced many new true leaves, the vines have grown longer and can reach up to 10 inches, and the main stems have become much stronger. The first male flower buds have also started to appear. I'm going to make a nice, decorative trellis for the cantaloupe plants. Here, I'm reusing the stalks from coconut leaves. They're strong enough to use as supports, but still flexible enough to bend into the shape I want without breaking too easily. After securing both ends with straight wooden stakes, I'll bend the coconut leaf stalks into an arch like this, then tie them in place with wire. The reason is simple. I just want to make the cantaloupe trellis look a little more interesting. Once the basic frame is finished, I'll reinforce it. Prepare some shorter, smaller wooden sticks and secure them vertically along the frame. I'll place one stick in the center first, then space the others evenly toward both sides. Install them one by one about 10 inches apart. These smaller sticks will help keep the curved frame stable, while also giving the cantaloupe vines something to climb as they grow. And finally, it's finished. Take a look. Doesn't it look a little like a bridge? After 30 days, my cantaloupe plants have already started climbing the trellis. They've climbed across almost the entire frame and produced lots of flowers and side shoots. The leaves are also much larger and healthier now. As you can see, there are many male flowers, which is a sign that female flowers should start appearing soon. Do you see that snail sitting on the plastic bottle? It's here to damage my crop. I'm going to remove it to protect the cantaloupe plants. This is also the stage when the plants need more nutrients for flowering and fruit development, so I'm going to give them some extra nutrition. Prepare a bag of kitchen scraps for me to feed the plants. These are vegetables and kitchen scraps that I fermented beforehand. Just pour them into a bowl, cut them into smaller pieces, then put them directly into the kitchen scrap bottle. This helps the scraps break down faster than with regular surface feeding, allowing the plants to access the nutrients more efficiently and in a more timely way. You can also see that some of the roots are exposed above the soil. So I'm going to mound a little more soil around the base of each plant. This helps keep the plants more stable and gives the roots more room to continue developing. The fresh soil also helps maintain more consistent moisture around the root zone, especially now that the plants are growing quickly and need more water. After mounding the soil, prepare some eggshells for me. I'll spread these crushed eggshells around the base of the plants. Eggshells contain a lot of calcium, And as they slowly break down, they can add calcium to the soil and support healthy plant growth. The slightly sharp, dry texture of the eggshells can also create a surface that is more difficult for snails to crawl across. Even though there is already a self-watering system underneath, I'll still add a light layer of water over the surface to rinse and clean the foam box lid. After 40 days, take a look. My cantaloupe plants have started producing female flowers. You can see them appearing on almost all of the plants. Cantaloupes can be pollinated by bees and other insects, so I'm going to leave them alone for now and see how well they can set fruit naturally. Let me give you a closer look at one of the female flowers. See this one? It hasn't even opened yet for pollination. After 50 days, look at this. This small cantaloupe has successfully set fruit. At this point, I'll pinch off the growing tip of the vine to limit further stem growth and reduce excessive new shoots, allowing the plant to focus more of its nutrients on the fruits I've chosen to keep. I'll also remove any damaged or poorly shaped fruits and keep only one cantaloupe on each plant. It won't be long before these little cantaloupes look completely different. Keep watching. Look, there's a bee collecting nectar right here. After 60 days, the cantaloupes have grown to about the size of a ping-pong ball. To keep insects from feeding on them and causing damage, I've covered the fruits with small plastic bags. Once the fruit has set, cantaloupes usually need about 40 to 45 days to develop and ripen. During this time, the fruit gradually gets larger. The netting on the rind becomes more pronounced, and the characteristic sweet aroma starts to appear as harvest time gets closer. When they grow larger, they'll become quite heavy, so I need to make support nets to help hold them up. I'll prepare some small pieces of netting and cut them into sizes that can fit a fully grown cantaloupe. First, tie one end of the net bag securely. Then, gently slide the bag up from underneath so it completely supports the cantaloupe. Watch closely how I do it. I pull the opening of the bag upward, gather the strings around the stem, and tie them just tight enough so the bag won't slip off. Once finished, the cantaloupe will sit securely inside the net, supported while still having enough room to continue growing. I'll tie up all the fruits here. Finally, I've finished them all. After 90 days, take a look. My cantaloupes have grown much larger and may have already reached their full size by now. The netting pattern on the rind has become more pronounced, thicker, and more even, while the skin color has started turning a light grayish green. Thanks to these support nets, the fruits can stay securely on the trellis without putting too much strain on the stems. I'm going to check all of the cantaloupes one by one. As you can see, they're fairly uniform in size. Some of the fruits already have a light fragrance. On some of them, the stem ends have started to dry out slightly and show signs of cracking. To be more certain, I'll also check them by gently tapping the cantaloupes. Can you hear that? A sound like this means the cantaloupe is ready to harvest. I'm going to cut these cantaloupes down now. I'll show you a simple tip for checking whether a cantaloupe is good. You only need to pay attention to 3 basic things. First, the netting on the rind should be clearly raised and fairly even. Next, the stem should start to dry slightly, instead of still looking fresh and green. Finally, smell the blossom end of the fruit. If it has a light, sweet fragrance and feels slightly springy when you gently press it, that's usually a good sign that the fruit is nicely ripe. Here is my entire harvest. It was definitely worth it, wasn't it? Now, I'm going to cut one open so you can see the inside. Tell me, what do you love most about cantaloupe? Is it the sweet, juicy flavor? Its distinctive aroma? Its nutritional value? Or simply the satisfaction of enjoying a melon you grew yourself? This fruit has just ripened, so the flesh color isn't very deep yet. If you leave it for a few more days, the flesh can become softer and juicier. The color may deepen, and the aroma can become more noticeable. As you can see, though, the flesh is very thick, while the rind is quite thin. Since I'm eating it fresh right after harvest, I can really taste how fresh, juicy, fragrant, and sweet it is. Now let's gather them up and bring them inside. I'll also show you more clearly what's happening inside the foam box and how the roots have developed. The roots have grown very densely and wrapped around the plastic bottle that holds the kitchen scraps, allowing them to absorb nutrients from that area.